Jacob, spell granary.
I feel like it's grain, E-R-Y.
No, there's no I.
There's no I in there? They just dropped that?
Mm-hmm.
See, we don't grow grain,
Okay.
so we're mixed vegetables and fruits. That's not my
Out of your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Well, it's pronounced granary, but it's spelled granary.
I think either pronunciation is correct. So, Grow Jackson, you must be really happy with a couple things. The weather,
Yeah.
for one. You've probably had success. The rain, but has it been too much rain?
Well, we had the flood last week when the Grand River was super high,
Yeah.
and some of our gardens were under a little bit of water, but it was not anything too detrimental to the plants.
Yeah.
We were able to, in a couple of days, everything got dried up, soil absorbed it all. I like to tell people that it's because we don't do any tilling, because we're using sustainable land use practices.
Right.
The soil absorbs more water, and that is true. I don't know if it's true in a micro example like a community garden, but we don't till the ground, and it keeps the soil healthier and means the soil can hold more water.
Yeah.
So we are rarely harmed by extreme temperatures or extreme rain. We try to take proactive practices in our management.
Well, that's good, because you can't predict the weather anymore.
You can't. And I think we talked about, wettest summer on record. And great for not having to spend as much money on irrigation, but also, trying to predict when it's going to be warm and when plants are going to ripen. And sometimes you have a super hot day, so certain plants ripen too fast. So a little bit tough, but we just try to stay on top of it and harvest everything we can and keep doing our thing.
Andy, I don't think you've ever eaten a vegetable.
No, and you know who
It
else
shows.
hasn't? Al Michaels has never
Really?
had a vegetable. Yeah,
Oh.
we're the only two. That's not true. Those Go-Go squeeze packs?
Yeah,
they
those don't
have a vegetable one.
I would like to come back in the fall, and I'm going to bring you a huge harvest basket, and we can do like an on-show tasting.
That's fine.
Does that sound good?
That's fine.
I did that with my elementary kids. I'm
Okay,
gonna teach,
perfect.
Like, it's just like an on-show. We'll just set up all the things.
Listen,
and
I'm not the only adult that doesn't
You're-
dive after vegetables.
You are the common adult.
Right.
I always tell people the only demographic of people in this country eating enough vegetables are certain classes of kids ages 2 to 5.
Right.
Upper class kids ages 2 to 5. So the only people getting enough fruits and vegetables,
Right.
me included. I say to people
Right.
all the time, I run a whole thing for this, and when's the last time I ate 5 servings of vegetables in a day?
Right. It's tough.
Like I had 3 yesterday. I try to keep a little.
Well, that's pretty good.
Because people ask, they're like, "Oh, so you must love tomatoes?" And I don't love tomatoes.
Really?
I like them out of the garden here, but I'm not reaching for tomatoes at Aldi.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody, except for
because-
everybody watching this.
That's one of the problems, I think. The tomatoes that you would buy 11 months out of the year are tasteless. They're awful, but just for 3 weeks, they're
Really good.
wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Local food is such a blessing, and getting to eat seasonally and locally is not easy to do. But we're actually trying to work on some solutions for that in partnership with the county. We're trying to work on a project for a year-round farmers market that would be open every day or 6 days a week. And you would source different foods from different farmers throughout the year, but you could have a robust, consistent, fresh food source. What will be difficult is trying to convince people to learn to eat seasonally. One of these exists in Ann Arbor and another one in Chelsea, and they're actually all over the country, these farm stops. And they say, when they're talking about how to replicate it, that you've got to convince your clients and your guests who come in to throw their grocery list away. You can't go in and say, okay, it's January, I'm looking for watermelon, I'm looking for tomatoes, I'm looking for asparagus, because we'll carry food that is locally sourced, so we'll carry things that farmers have in January, right? And that's going to be a lot of root vegetables and storage apples and squash and things like that. And convincing people to eat locally is going to help people eat foods that are more nutritionally dense, foods that haven't had to travel as far, foods that taste better, foods that are more aligned with what we should be eating in Michigan in January. But people aren't really used to interacting with their food system and their farmer like that. So we're trying to work on those conversations with people.
Tell me about your new ag internship.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 6 fantastic interns working in our urban ag internship this summer. It's a workforce development internship, and we are able to have them work for us part-time. They do an environmental literacy curriculum where they learn about different careers and different fields in building and in agriculture and health and in energy and in waste management and water. And then we take them on these field trips. So last week we did a transportation module. So this week we're going to take a train to Kalamazoo. Most people in the internship have never been on a train before. We did a water module early on, and then we toured the water treatment plant with the city of Jackson. And the kids get to come in, I shouldn't say kids, they hate when I do that, they're all adults.
Yeah.
The interns get to come in and learn about different opportunities, and then Nick, our tour guide, shared with them. He graduated from high school, started working for the city,
Cool.
and worked his way up through different trainings and certifications to now run our water treatment plant. They also have a strong financial literacy component that's sponsored by True Community Credit Union. And so many of them are in a job for the first time, or in a job that's not, just working at a fast food place for the first time. We want them to not leave the summer with no savings. So our thinking is we'll have them come in, get work experience, get this workforce development credential, because the curriculum will get them a Department of Labor certification. That certification can count for high school credit if they're going back into their senior year, or we're working on getting it to count for college credit, but Jackson College has been super helpful in that. And then we'll also do a savings match sponsored by True Community Credit Union.
Great.
So we want them to know that if they're going into college, or they're going to get an apartment or put a down payment on a car, that this framework for this summer job experience has been more than just 8 weeks on a resume.
Sure.
And Jackson County has a ton of farms.
Ton of farms.
Very, very agricultural county.
Yep, absolutely. So we would love to do this again. We've talked about doing this with adults as well, and creating this opportunity where maybe multiple times a year we can have intern cohorts where people leave us with a certification, some financial literacy, some savings, and we'll help them find that next opportunity, whether it's starting a green business or going to college or finding that next job. But being able to use an employment opportunity with Grow Jackson as a means of economic mobility and community investment.
Where's the next event we can see you in the Grow Jackson trailer?
Absolutely. So we have some great community events. We're hosting community dinners all summer and grocery giveaways at different resource fairs. Actually, our next community dinner is this Thursday coming up, and we're hosting it in the St. Mary's Garden at 5:30, featuring foods from the Caribbean. And we'll provide the fruit and the salad, and just get to highlight some really cool cultural dishes and give food away and give groceries away and just have a nice community event.
Awesome. And you have a website, social media, follow along,
Yep.
and you're always looking for help. People want to be part of Grow Jackson.
Absolutely.
You'd love to hear from them.
Yeah, we absolutely would. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, sir.
The founder director of Grow Jackson, Jacob Inosencio. More of the morning show after these messages.